Thank you very much. I would like to begin by thanking the organizers of this conference for inviting me. I'm very excited to share on this platform. And based on my background and experience, after my talk, I'm sure you understand why this means a lot to me, and it's good to be here to share some thoughts. So I would like to be talking on how to nurture African youth in mathematics and science with aims as a case study. So I have a few motivations to share, and then I'll try to describe the aims model as what I see as one of the models that we can learn from in terms of building young talent in Africa, and highlight some of the programs we do at AIMS. And before I finish, it's something also that is very interesting to me. The idea of a university, especially within Africa, and how we should reinvent the idea of a university in Africa. And I will also share some thoughts on these. So I would like to motivate by sharing some pictures. So I have to my left Professor Daniele Champon, and in the middle is Professor Ben Schwartz and Professor Francis Alute on the right. So these are people who have played a very important role in my life as a mathematician and as a physicist. So Professor Champon was my undergraduate and master's supervisor. And when I was in the university, in the whole university, I was the only one interested in doing theoretical physics or mathematical physics. And I happened to be the only one in most of my classes in the final year. And he's someone who really devoted his time to teaching me and also inspiring me. In the middle, Professor Ben Schwartz, who I know is very connected to ICMS. It's someone I met by chance at a conference when he was visiting Ghana. And at the time, I had just finished my master's, and I was trying to figure out where to go next, because I was very interested in solving the problem of quantum gravity, and in the whole of Ghana and in the whole of Africa at the time, I didn't know anyone who was studying quantum gravity. Professor Champon, who was my master's supervisor, was a particle physicist, and he did his best to point me in the right direction. But when I met Bernd by chance, we talked, and he asked me to show him what I have done, and he was surprised, and he actually said he didn't know there were people interested in these areas in Africa. And the first thing he asked was, okay, would you like me to supervise your PhD? I said no initially because I had other ideas, but eventually he managed to convince me, and I was glad I did. And I spent a lot of time in the UK. I got support from ICMS, ICTP, and LMS as well. And then also on the right is Professor Francis Alute, who is my mentor, and he has inspired many African mathematicians, and he always kept encouraging me that it is possible and that I can do it. And he has been very, very, these three people were very instrumental in shaping my career. Now, the next picture I would like to show is a picture of myself in 2012 when I graduated as a PhD student. Now, I have put this picture of myself alone because at the time I graduated in 2012, I was the first PhD in mathematics for the University of Ghana after 65 years. And what was worse and more worrying for me was that the youngest Ghanaian in the department with a PhD was also 65 years. And so this is something that I was a big concern for me. I was very excited that I have managed to get to study quantum gravity, and I'm getting into the field, and I've met a lot of different people, and I've had a lot of exposure, but I was always alone. So in my next picture, this is a picture of a conference. So that's me. A picture of a conference I attended in Durham. I think it was on gauge theory and complex geometry. A lot of researchers from different parts of the world. I was the only African. And following that, so this is around 2011, before I finished my PhD. And following that, I attended a lot of conferences in quantum gravity, where sometimes you have 200 people or more. And I was the only, not just the only African, sometimes I was the only black. And so one of the things that really struck me is, how can we change this? So what is the main problem? Is it that there are not enough people interested in these fields in mathematics and physics? How can we change the narrative? How can we bring more people? But the problem for me was not just the international community, because even locally, in my country, I was alone, and in a lot of places in Africa, there aren't many people. In fact, even if you look at the time, there are a lot of departments of mathematics across Africa where having even faculty to teach was a big challenge, and there was a very great need to really do something about this. So the next picture I have is a picture of Professor Neil Turok, someone I met around the time I finished my PhD. And so I started discussing some of these concerns with him, and I was very, very passionate about it, and really got excited about changing the face of Africa in terms of building more capacity and more talents in these areas of mathematics and physics. And then he said, I remember very well that he said, Prince, and at the time when I met him at the Perimeter Institute, and I told him I wanted to learn a lot on how one can build an institute like this and try to develop more talent in these areas and so on. And he said to me that, Prince, the best way to learn is to do it. So he will offer me an opportunity to work at AIMS in Ghana, because there were similar goals. He also had the vision of the next Einstein coming from Africa. And I also have this passion from my background, building young people in my field and mathematics and physics in Africa. So I think it was a very good connection, and he he offered me an opportunity to lead some of the AIMS institutes, and I would like to share some of the things we have been able to do so far in the past decade. So the AIMS model that Neil had, the idea he had was very simple. So he said, okay, if we can gather the most talented graduates from across Africa in one place and bring the best lecturers from all over the world to teach them, then there will be this, we can create a powerful environment and there will be a lot of stimulation, and then people's potential will be developed, and he thinks the sky will be the limit. And so this basic idea is what has now led to the AIMS ecosystem, which consists of a network of centers of excellence across Africa. We are in South Africa, Senegal, Ghana, Cameroon, and Rwanda. In fact, recently we did a restructuring, and in Rwanda we have 2 centers. In addition to the AIMS Center, we also have a research and innovation center, which also hosts the Quantum Leap Africa, which I also happen to have started. So our main signature program at AIMS is an MSc for Mathematical Sciences. So this is a program where we select from all over Africa. We insist on having at least 30% female. And this is a very deliberate effort, and we put in a lot of effort to reach this mark. It is sometimes very challenging, and we do a lot of campaigns to try to get a lot of applications from females. So every year we receive about 5,000 applications from across the network, and each center selects 60. It's a fully funded program. We pay their flights, accommodation, food, everything. Just a couple of days ago, we are starting our academic year, and we have some students we selected from Sudan who have been trapped in a war zone, and we managed to push to get them to find a way to Egypt, find a way to the outskirts where they can get a flight, and then we managed to get some of them here. And for me, this is amazing, because we get students from refugee camps who are very, very talented. They come to AIMS and they do amazing. It's a we have mainly visiting lecturers from across the world. I'm sure there are some of you in this meeting who have already visited to teach at AIMS. We create a 24/7 learning environment, and we have tutors who are there full-time to support the students. In 2018, we also started a new program, the African Masters of Machine Intelligence, which was funded by Google and Facebook. And this awards MSc in Mathematical Sciences specializing in AI. And this program was well oversubscribed. We have a typical application, over 7,000 applications. And we had around 100 spots. Now the numbers have even reduced. We have only 60 spots for this program, and it's very competitive. Students who attend this program most of them go on internships with international companies, and this is also another amazing program. Another program that we have is a master's program for mathematical sciences for teachers, which is also part of our teacher training and professional development program. One of the challenges that we have, especially in the high schools across Africa, that we identified is that I know earlier on in in the previous talk, there were discussions about how mathematics is difficult. So most people, when you mention mathematics, they say, okay, I don't like math, it's difficult. Some of the research we did actually indicated that a lot of these challenges were due to the fact that the teachers who are teaching, especially at the high school, lack an understanding of the foundational mathematics, and therefore they are not able to explain the concept to the students, and even how to show them where they can apply the mathematics that they are studying. So we created this program, which is a 2-year master's program, 30% in person and 70% online, because we want the teachers to continue to remain in the classroom. It focuses more on areas of modern mathematics and applications, and challenge these student teachers to brainstorm creative ways of transforming the knowledge and the foundations of mathematics to the classroom, to these high school kids. And this program has been very, very successful. We've made a lot of impact, and a lot of the teachers who have finished this program have transformed their teaching and the students that they train. And we've already started seeing positive results coming from the schools in which they are. We also have Helping Teachers Teach Mathematics conference that we organize in partnership with the Center of Mathematics and Computing at the University of Waterloo. And there we include teachers who are in elementary school as well, so grade 7 all the way to 12, in supporting them on how to teach mathematics. So for Ghana in particular, we normally receive over 1,200 applications in our regular master's program, at about 1,000 in the teachers program. So far in the past 10 years, we have done over 500 students. I think precisely is 538 MSc students in 10 years from 25 countries, and 33% of these are female. Last year, we graduated 100 students in one class, which was a big record, graduating 100 MSc Mathematical Sciences students at one go. And for me, it's amazing. In fact, next year, we are expecting to break this record by graduating 130 MSc students. And the goal is to work hard to build capacity and to raise a critical mass of young talents across Africa in the field of mathematical sciences that will play a leading role in these fields. I would like to highlight some of our alumni. The first one is Sofiat, who came from Nigeria and now teaching in Glasgow. She came from Nigeria, got a scholarship, finished the AIMS program, and then got opportunities to do her PhD, and now doing amazing. I'm just listing a few, but we have a long list. If you visit our alumni wall on the AIMS Ghana website, you can read about the stories of a lot of our alumni and what they are doing. Another alumni is Digut, who came from Sudan. He's currently a research chair at the AIMS Research and Innovation Center in Kigali. And Digut came from a refugee camp, finished. So he he managed to submit his application, and we managed to get him a flight to come to Ghana to get the training. And I always say that if he hadn't had this opportunity, I don't know. And there are a lot of young people in Africa, in war zones and refugee camps, deprived areas, who are very, very talented, and we need to make a lot more effort to reach out to them to help them develop their potential. Eugene is one of the youngest students we've had at Ames. He came to Ames from the University of Ghana, very young, and then after Ames, he got a PhD at the Perimeter Institute in Canada, and he's now back in Ghana at the University of Ghana teaching mathematics. So he's one of the people who is also my former student, and helping change the narrative. At the beginning, I was saying that when I finished my PhD, the youngest Ghanaian who has a PhD in the department was 65 years. And now there are a lot of young Ghanaians. I think I can count about 5 faculty in the department now, and most of them are Ames alumni who have finished their PhD and come back, and now they are helping develop the department. And it's a similar story to a lot of African countries, in Uganda, in Kenya, in Liberia. There are lots of alumni who are now leading training and research in these fields, and helping to develop more talent and helping to train the next generation in Africa. Across the network, we now have close to 3,000 alumni across all the Ames network. And it's important to note that over 70% of these alumni are working in Africa. A lot of them have also completed their PhDs. Some of them a significant number are in academia, and there are lots of them are also in industry. We have industry immersion programs that help to integrate our students into industry as well. And I think that our 33% alumni, which we have now reorganized to push our limit to 50-50, we are aiming that in the next few years, all our intake, we will reach the 50-50 mark. And I can say that Ames is one of the organizations or universities in Africa and in the world who has trained a lot of females in mathematical sciences, especially at the master's level. I also want to highlight, talking about females in mathematical sciences. I listened to the talks this morning from Brazil and about women in mathematics. I was excited, and the fact that there are a lot of people working on initiatives to help support young girls and also women in mathematics. So we have this program for girls in high school, where we select students from different high schools across the country. We put them on a 9-month mentorship and training program. And the idea is to supercharge them to create the potential Einstein. And I always say that at Ames, we believe that the next Einstein will come from Africa. And I believe that she will be female. So we assign them mentors, and they do master classes. And at the end, they come to Ames to do mini courses in different areas of mathematics taught by international faculty. And this program is transformational. And it's sometimes you notice that at the high school level, a lot of students are confused. They don't really know what to do. They don't really understand where to go. They don't have any mentorship or guide as to they are not sure about the sciences, and a lot of them are also filled with the pollution. I always say that mathematics is difficult. Mathematics is difficult, and there's no one to support them. So this is one of the programs that we are now trying to scale, and students come in with all kinds of ideas, and by the end of the program, they are 100% convinced of certain areas they want to go into. I mean, students come in with the intention that, okay, I want to do economics, but at the end of the program, they have concluded they want to do quantum because they have seen a lot and they've been exposed, and now they like it. So I think it is very essential for us to develop programs, not even only at the high school level, but also at the elementary school level, to support young girls and to nurture them and mentor them into careers in mathematics and science. So this is a picture of a graduation for the girls in mathematical science program, and last year we had Jocelyn Belbanel in Ghana giving a public lecture, and these young high school girls had a chance to interact with her and see her and actually discuss with her, and it was very, very inspirational. And I always say that these opportunities for us in Africa is very important and very rare, because for me, it took me until when I was a PhD student to meet someone who has actually written a book that I have used as a student, and it was a very different experience, because these kids, I mean, sitting out here, we use a lot of books from Springer, from CUP. There are a lot of names on these books. We never get to see them. We don't know them, and this connection, where at Ames we bring the best lecturers. We bring different lecturers from all over the world, people who have published books, who have written books, to meet with our students and interact with them, for them to see that, oh, okay, they are actually real human beings like you, and if they can do it, you can also do it. For me, it is very important and very motivating for our students. Okay, so we also have a lot of research going on at Ames, and we, in Ghana in particular, we have research areas, stochastic analytics with applications, algebra and quantum geometry, climate science and atmospheric physics, and also mathematical biology. We have a number of research chairs and a lot of PhD students as well. During my just before I go on, during my PhD, I although I studied in Ghana, I was supervised by Ben, who was in Herod Watt, and I got funding to go back and forth, visiting him, and it helped me to kind of develop a model which I think I thought we could still scale. And now we are implementing this model in our PhD programs, both in Ghana and Kigali. And in Kigali, for example, now we have close to 40 PhD students in the program who are being trained based on these same models that we have. What I have, another thing I have also been involved in the past few years is the creation of the Quantum Leap Africa Research Center, which focuses on data science for development. And one of the key things we are interested in is how one can exploit the use of data for development in Africa. and also ultimately quantum science and technology. Africa has been playing catch up in all the previous revolutions. We are now in the fourth industrial revolution and heading towards the quantum one, and this is something we don't want to miss. So we are building a lot of capacity and creating a strong research group also for this. And here, I think I would like to highlight the QLE logo that we created. And you see the arrow coming out of Africa and coming back. This is something that mathematics originated from Africa. The days of the Ishango bone in DRC several years ago, and we believe that mathematics is coming back to Africa. So it came out of Africa, and it's coming back to Africa. So I on the PhD, we have a plan in the next 5 to 7 years to train 100 PhD students with models similar to how I got my PhD. And currently, like I said, we have between Rwanda and Ghana, currently we have close to 50 PhD students already. And we have done a lot of work at the master's level, and now we are pushing to train a lot more students also at the PhD level. So I would like to close my talk by sharing some ideas on how I think one can reinvent the idea of a university in Africa. So some of us, I mean, universities are one of the most powerful and more impactful creations of the human mind. Amazingly, bringing people together in one place to share knowledge and also develop is amazing. And at this point, the way universities are structured with a lot of bureaucracy and all that, we feel that especially within Africa, where our need for capacity building and good quality capacity building is very dire, and we need to develop more and build more capacity at a very fast rate. We need to rethink about the idea of a university. So the first point I want to say is that it should be transnational, bringing many countries and cultures together. And this is something that we see at AIMS when we bring students from all over Africa. It is within Africa, but different cultures, different background. And we also bring tutors and lecturers from all over the world to come in and meet in one place, and interaction. It turns out to be amazing. So the second point is also that the admission at higher education should be solely on merit and should promote equal access. And also one should promote excellence in the sense of, in the ethical sense, and excellence in also the sense of supporting each other. And another point that I would like to highlight is that connecting people through advanced knowledge and power in one place, and how to use this knowledge is something that is very, very powerful. And this involves top scientists from all over the world with a student body coming together and bringing a very powerful exchange. Another point is that teaching should be very, very interactive. We should promote creativity and exploration rather than rote learning. And that is something that we need to reorganize our university systems to be able to focus on that. And integration of modern technology for both training and discovery is also something that I also think we should focus on creatively. And last but not the least is that the university should promote diversity and inclusion. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.